hold it to your own. Oftentimes in our congregation, because we are a mixed congregation, not everybody is Jewish. And so non-Jewish members of my congregation, when they first start coming, before they are even members, they want to know, should I celebrate Christmas? And I tell them, if this is what your family is doing, and if this is what you enjoy, celebrate Christmas. So, traditions are beautiful. Traditions keep families together. It keeps cultures together. So I hope I have not over-answered the question. I hope I have answered it to your satisfaction.
This meeting in Berlin, what all of the congregations, what are you going to do in Berlin? That's one thing. And second, why is it in Berlin? Why is it in this city? Does it have any special meaning or reason?
Okay. All right. I am the president of the Messianic Jewish Alliance of America. There are 20 other international alliances. So the leaders, along with the delegates, are going to be meeting in Berlin just to catch up and conduct a business meeting. There are many others who will be in that meeting. For example, Eric, my dear friend Eric, will be in that meeting. He is going to attend with observer status. I'm sorry. It's my. What was the second part of the question? Why Berlin? That's a good question. 4 years ago, we met in Jerusalem, and I would have preferred to go back to Jerusalem. But we are meeting in Berlin because the vice president of the International Alliance has a very large congregation in Berlin, and he is doing all of the work and organization work. And so this is why we have selected Berlin. We meet internationally every 4 years. Jerusalem is always my number one priority, but I would be very pleased if in 4 years from now we were in Krakow.
Question. You said about tradition, you said about choosing good tradition. Something which for me is very impressive is the role of father in family, especially in your Jewish tradition. Father's role in the celebration of traditional meeting or family meeting celebration is very, very important. Can you advise us something according to this role of father in family to leading ceremony in family?
One of the great commands is to honor your father and your mother. It's a command that is very, very strong, not just within the Ten Commandments, but all throughout the Bible. When I came to faith, my father was not happy about it. As I said earlier, my father was a Holocaust survivor. In my father's way of thinking, God died at Auschwitz. He lost his entire family. My father did not believe in God, but yet he compelled my brothers and I to remain in the synagogue up to the age of 18. My Jewish friends bowed out of the synagogue after bar mitzvah at age 13, he compelled us to stay right up through 18. And we would always fight with him because we didn't want to go. It meant going to Hebrew school on Wednesday night, services on Saturday, Sunday school. I would rather be playing baseball with my friends. And every time I would argue with my father, and I would say to him, "Why do you force us to go to the synagogue and you never go?" His answer was always the same. "I want you to know who you are and who your people are." And so we go back to tradition. It was very, very painful to tell my father and my mother that I believed in Jesus. Because this would be the ultimate breaking of tradition. And it was a very difficult thing. I didn't want to tell my parents. And I put it off. I didn't want to tell them. But my friend bought me a gift. A friend bought me a gift. It was a Star of David with a cross in the middle of it. So I had that around my neck, and I forgot I was wearing it when I went home, when I went to my parents' home later that night to have dinner with them. And my mother looked at that, and she says, "Frankie, what is that around your neck?" And I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to be good. And I said, "Mom, it's a Star of David." And she says, "I know what that is, but what is that thing in the middle?" And I said, "It's a cross, Mom. I believe that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah." And she began to cry. "Where have I gone wrong with you? What did I do wrong?" And my father put down his fork and he left the table and didn't speak to me for a couple days. And when he broke his silence, he gave me a warning, referring to Christians. He said, "They used to come after us with a stick. Now they're holding out a carrot." You see, for me to believe in Jesus was the height of breaking with tradition. But I'm comforted by the words and the teachings that Jesus gave. Jesus understood that decisions to follow him were going to divide families. He understood and he warned and he taught that for my sake, one may have to leave father and mother. So I broke with the tradition, but I never have and I never would break with the love that I have for my parents. I can tell you more, about my parents of blessed memory. But unlike many cults, see, a cult will always teach you to stay away from your family. But, we love our families and we honor our parents. And so making a good decision, making a good choice regarding the breaking of tradition, it must be based on faith, but we must also do it we have to do it with the fullness of our heart's love. Hurting my parents was the last thing I would ever want to do. But in my heart, I knew who Jesus was, and I could not deny that.
You said that your congregation consists of Jewish people. Is that right?
Congregations of Jewish people.
Yes, that's Messiah.
Yeah, but Messianic.
Messianic
Yes.
Jewish
Yes.
congregation. Okay. What about Jewish people in Israel? Do they recognize you, and aren't they against you somehow? Aren't you persecuted by them?
It's interesting. That's a great question. It used to be, some years ago, where we faced a lot of opposition all across the Israeli society. But things have changed. Our organization, the Messianic Jewish Alliance of America, for example, we bring into the land of Israel up to $20 million and more of $20 million and more of health and humanitarian aid. We have 2 warehouses in the land of Israel where we receive shipments of all kinds of supplies, medical supplies, refrigerators, hospital beds, you name it. We have 2 warehouses that store a lot of these valuable materials. And we distribute them all throughout the land. We have made donations to the Israeli Defense Forces. Anytime there is a terrorist act, we are there to hand out goods. So over the years, we have gained a very good reputation in the eyes of Israelis because they see that our motives and our intentions are good, that we identify ourselves as Jews, even if they will not want to recognize us as such. Right now, there's a growing number of the secular Israeli society who are very accepting of us. But there is always going to be opposition from the ultra-Orthodox. In fact, Israeli society, there is civil war because the secular Israeli Jews do not care a lot for the ultra-Orthodox, and the ultra-Orthodox don't think a lot about those who are secular. So we are just another part of this very muddled equation that is the land of Israel.
Time for the lecture. So Frank, thank you very much for your coming, for your lecture, and for your testimony of your life, for your believing, and for dividing this with us. Thank you very much.
Dziękuję.
Some words from our students.
Of our teacher, we would like to thank you for this wonderful speech you gave us today, and those were truly the words of wisdom and faith. And thank you for them.
Oh, thank you so much. You're all making me turn red in my face. You know that these are going to wind up in the hands of the most beautiful woman in my world, my wife, Margaret. Mark, could you raise your hand so everybody can? All right. She'll be the lady holding the flower. Thank you so much.